This is so exciting. Thank you guys for being here. Man, I've been looking forward to this for 2 months, 3 months now. So grateful to. I'm seeing some familiar faces. Elise, Brooke, good to see you guys. I can't see all of you all at once, but man, for if we haven't met, I just appreciate you. That takes a little bit of faith, right? To hop into a call with someone you don't know, hop onto a workshop, and so I just appreciate your what's the word? Vote of confidence to be willing to even show up and show your face during this time. So I hope I do my job really, really well and just hopefully provide a ton of value onto how to grow your Christian coaching business. The chat on the right-hand side is wide open if you have any questions throughout this workshop. Sometimes I'll take a pause right in the middle of like a framework. If you're not understanding something, something's not being communicated clearly, feel free to ask any questions that pop up. I want to make this as applicable as possible to as many of you as possible. So if you don't mind, right now in the chat, go ahead and just tell me what your industry is. If you are a coach, tell me who you help. If you're a life coach, financial coach, you could be a health and wellness coach, business coach, career coach, leadership coach. Just love to hear what types of coaches we have in the room. That will help me kind of cater the content of the workshop towards you guys. And cool, we got a leadership coach. Hey, Kyle. I know Kyle. Mukunda, welcome, Mukunda. I know Mukunda, life and professional coach. PCOS health and wellness coach. Oh, I recognize Samantha as well. Yeah, we've talked as well. Financial coach, email marketing coach, autism neurodiverse parents coach. I know Brooke very well. Autumn says writing coach and publisher. Awesome, awesome. A lot of coaches in the room. Fantastic. I'm a learning and life success coach for teens. I just want to point out how it is such a beautiful thing that God has gifted us with so many diverse gifts, and He's given each of you a message to speak and to share and to meet whoever you're called to serve, to meet them where they're at and to walk through this journey, whether it's their career or their life or their health or whatever that is. It's just a beautiful thing how God equips us with different gifts and how that can be, it can be incredibly lucrative and meaningful and purposeful to partner with other people who have diverse gifts. So what I want to do is pray, and then I want to share like a vision for this workshop and kind of how the structure is going to go. And then I want to dive like right into the meat of the content and start answering some of these questions like, how do I put all these different pieces, these business systems together? How do I grow my audience? What if I'm scared to tell my story? Is it wrong to charge money? How do I close deals? All of these things that we often run into. Just want to start tackling those one by one. So let's go ahead and pray. Dear God, thank you for each person represented in this room. Thank you for just this opportunity to speak, to share, to listen. God, I pray that your spirit would guide and direct this conversation. Lord, I pray that you would give us wisdom, give us encouragement where we need encouragement, conviction where we need encouragement, a conviction. God, I pray that any ego, any pride would be laid aside, and humility we would allow you to speak and allow you to work and allow you to dictate the direction that you want us to go in our businesses. God, I pray that it would be an overflow of the heart work that you're doing inside of us, that we would be holistic leaders that are leading ourselves first, and that would overflow into how we lead the people you've called us to serve. God, I pray that you do all of this in your mighty Son's name, Jesus. Amen. If you're just coming in, I ask you to go over to the chat if you'd like, and just tell me what kind of coach you are. That way I can kind of cater some of the content. I'm going to try to do a couple spotlight sessions, so I'm not just speaking in theory, but actually bring on some of you periodically and apply what I'm teaching in real time. So I'm super excited for that. It's going to take a brave few souls to come on and be willing to put yourself out there, but I promise it'll be worth it. Awesome. Key Boy says a Christian business coach. Paula says wellness coach. Awesome. Stress recovery coach. Awesome. Okay, so this that's done. If you would go ahead and mute your mic, That way we don't get any random background noise. Of course, unless I call on you or we bring you on, then of course I'd love for you to mute your mic. But if you would be willing to, I'd love for you to turn on your camera so we can all see each other. That would be really cool. So feel free to do that. I see it, Isabella R, and I think that's my wife sneaking onto this call to watch. So hello, Isabella. Okay, so I hate when workshops start and it's like the person starts with all about them and their background and their credibility, and it's like this like prideful boasting. But I also want to give you a little bit of background and context into how I got into starting Purpose Beyond Profit, how I got onto this workshop, and where I'm at today. And so I started in 2018, started a marketing agency right out of college after getting my business management degree at Southeastern University in Central Florida. And I had a pure intention. My mantra at the time was to bring truth to the marketing industry. That was in 2018. And I started this little newsletter. It was called Purpose Beyond Profit. It was also a blog. And so I would like interview these local business leaders and just ask them like why they started their organization. And I love sharing those stories of like the why behind what they were doing. And I found that people connected a lot with that. And so at some point though, I wasn't making money. And so I was like, I felt very purposeful in what I was doing, but I didn't really understand how to make money from that. And so right before my wife and I were to get married, 90 days right before 2020, I had several clients where that had built up over a long period of time that I was running Facebook ads for, and Facebook changed their algorithm, they changed their policies, and I had 80 ads shut down overnight. And so our revenue, our income went down to zero. My wife was still in school, and I was like, make money now. Like this is cool, like a whole purposeful thing, but like I need to make money right now. I need to pay bills. And so I shifted into this mindset and this focus of what's going to make money now. And I never really shifted out of that mindset. I stayed in that mindset of fear of I need to make money right now. And I saw myself as the sole provider instead of God, and drifted completely from that original purpose that God had called me to. And over the course of a couple of years, I built up my business to $15,000 a month in reoccurring revenue, making the most amount of money I've ever made in my entire life. I was financially successful, but totally bankrupt on purpose, motivation, fulfillment. It was honestly hard to get out of bed in the morning. I didn't want to go on my sales calls. I didn't believe in what I was doing. I was basically just chasing money and helping other people do the same. That's what my marketing agency drifted into. It was just like every other marketing agency that I wanted to project and like the industry. And what I realized was God wanted to change me. And he wanted to bring truth into my life.
All right, 7 o'clock.
Everybody hit the mute button. I'm not sure if I can do that all at once. But if individually, if you guys hit your mute buttons, you think I know how to do this by now, but every time I can't find it. So yeah, I'm not gonna spend time doing that. So God told me to destroy my idol and shut down my business and go back to zero in January 2022. And that was the hardest decision I ever had to make. I found Christian business leaders who told me, hey, Jeremy, you're making a lot of money. You can do a lot of great things with that. And to an extent, we did. Like we bought a house, we bought a car, we converted our car into a camper. We traveled around the United States. I was making passive income. I hired a team, delegated everything out. And then I still, obviously, that was the most purposeless and meaning. Like I was lacking so much meaning in my life. And so that was God's grace in showing me that, that discomfort, that lack of purpose when I had drifted. And so it just got to the point where God's like, I want you to destroy your idol. And so I destroyed that idol, started back over from scratch with Purpose Beyond Profit. And I didn't have anything to sell at that time. I just started telling my story. And talent. I put a landing page on my website that everything pointed to, and I just said, hey, I started this business with a false belief that the purpose of business was to make money. And I'm realizing now more and more that the purpose of business is to love people, and money is just a tool in the process. And so I started First Beyond Profit with that hypothesis that it was possible to be 100% purposeful, to be 100% aligned with what God has called you to do, and to be loving the way in which you make money. That's what God kept on telling me over and over again is, I don't want you to just glorify me with the money that you make. I want you to glorify me in how you make your money, and how you market yourself, and how you build your sales systems, and how you show up for your clients, and how you lead your team, and how you lead yourself, like every single step, right? And up to that point, I thought you either had to be purposeful or profitable, because I had experienced both, but never at the same time. And so even now, like in working with Christian coaches, I hear this all the time. Like when they hear you have so much purpose in your business, they're like, oh, so you're a nonprofit, right? Like you can't be a for-profit business and be purposeful, right? And when you're making a lot of money, what do we often do? We often judge those people and say, oh, they're just chasing money, right? And so what I believe and what I built on in 2022, and God started giving me frameworks for it, literally 3 o'clock in the morning, wake me up, and he would just give me, I would go to my office, open up my journal. Actually, at the time, I didn't even have an office, and just write down what he was speaking, and started to form processes and frameworks, what I knew in marketing, but applying it underneath the biblical principles in the Bible, right? And so since then, I launched my first cohort in the fall of 2022. Since then, I've launched 15 cohorts of 2 to 3 people. So I've coached a little bit over 40 clients since fall of 2022. I have a mastermind of about 10 people. By the way, guys, if you're a coach, the beautiful thing about leading people towards something that's inherently good. So like my mission statement is to help entrepreneurs love people with aligned business systems. I have never graduated from loving people through business. I'm still figuring this out. I'm not a perfect expert. Everything that I'm sharing with you are things that I still struggle with day to day. Okay. And so I'm still pursuing this, but also so are all of my clients. And so when they graduate from your coaching program, you have the opportunity, if you position your business the right way, to continue to pursue this mission with your audience in a reoccurring revenue format, meaning you can have an indefinite mastermind after they graduate from your coaching program. We might come back to that, but that's a huge point that I'd like to make just from a revenue standpoint. Having recurring revenue, if you don't have that, that means you have to completely replace your income every 3 months. Let's say if your coaching program is 3 months like mine is, right? Completely replacing your income every 3 months is an exhausting task. And so what we're going to start with when we finally get into some of these practical frameworks, I'm trying to rush into because I really want to get there, is positioning your business to serve your audience, to pursue something that's inherently good, meaning it's not a temporary milestone, meaning that you can pursue it for the rest of your life and be successful in it every day. We'll talk about what that looks like in just a minute. Then from that mastermind, I launched my first annual in-person retreat last April. Like, hands down, the most incredible career experience I've ever had was having a 4-day in-person retreat with my mastermind students. We had about 12, 14 people there. Some of them brought their spouses, and I don't have I'll share a link at the end of this that has my coaching program offer on it, and there's a recap video on there. It was unbelievable, and that's something that's really cool too, is if you're doing virtual coaching and you launch a mastermind, doing in-person retreats, you get to meet the people who've been working with for months or maybe even years, is a really, really cool thing. So next month, my wife is going to be joining me. She's able to retire from teaching, which she loved teaching. She loved working with kids, but it was a lot for those of you who've been teachers, which maybe some of you have because you're coaches. I'm sure there's overlap there. It was a lot for her, and so she's able to now come on and work with me. And the cool thing is she's good at all the things that I suck at, so the administrative organization stuff. So I'm really excited about that. We're definitely going to be launching more retreats. I'm writing a book. I'm working 4 days a week. 1 day a week, I have what I call a freedom day, and basically that gives me the total freedom to just work on passion projects. I have systems that run while I sleep, and so once you build your system using automation is really helpful for not burning out. because once you reach a certain threshold, you can't follow up with everybody manually. It's just not possible. You have limited bandwidth. I think it's important to respect that. And I feel the most fulfillment I've ever felt in my career just by showing people and learning myself how to love people through business. So, wow, that was a long introduction. If you have any questions about that at all, you can put it in the chat. But I want to go ahead and get started because I think one of the biggest problems that I get is like, how do I put all the pieces together? And typically people are talking about, well, I need to make clients, but I know I need to market myself. I know I need to be on social media. I know that I need to be doing this, like all these different things. And part of that is in the industry that we're in, there's a lot of gurus there that will tell you all the things that you should be doing and shouldn't be doing. And so there's a boatload of information, right? And so what I like to do is start all the way with the big picture and knowing what is like defining a compass for your business. Could mute your mic, that way we don't get any background noise. That'd be great. I think there's a way for me to do it on my end, but it would just be easier if everybody handled it individually because I can't find the button at the moment. And so what I want to do is ask you guys to pull out a sheet of paper, and I want all of us to come up with a one-sentence mission statement that will provide the direction of your business for the rest of your life. Because if we can do that, then we can submit all the other pieces, all the other things that you're not sure if you should be doing or shouldn't be doing underneath that compass. And if it's an alignment, we do it. And if it's not, we don't. So we have a metric to know what we should be doing and shouldn't be doing and shouldn't be doing. So grab a sheet of paper, and I'm going to make 3 circles here. And if you guys have worked with me before, you have definitely seen this because I start all of my coaching clients with this exact framework. And this is the one that changed everything for me personally. When I was in that transition from starting my business, I was like, okay, God, now what? And what he showed me was there was still a lot of gifts that I had that I was using in my previous business that were applicable to what he's calling me to do now. Some of y'all need to hear that. Some of the gifts that you haven't yet used in the context of coaching, but they're absolutely transferable. And so what I want you to do is I want you to take full inventory in a short amount of time. So obviously it can't be full inventory because hopefully I would love to see you guys set aside an entire day or several hours where you're doing this and you're asking your friends these questions too. Like, what am I good at? What am I passionate about? What can I talk about for 30 minutes without any preparation? What am I skilled in, both in hard skills and soft skills? So what I want you to do is divide up your piece of paper into 3 sections. So 2 lines, on the left side, write life purpose. On the middle, write gifts. And on the right side, write empathy. And so the question I'll just put this in the chat. The question is, what am I good at? What am I passionate about? What could I talk about for 30 minutes without prep? What am I skilled in? Where do I have education, certifications? All of these things that God has gifted you with. Hard skills like, say being good at Excel, right? Soft skills like being a good listener. Write all of those down. And what we're going to do is we're going to position the mission of your business, the compass of your business, at the center of your life purpose, which is why are you on this earth in the first place, right? As Christians, we definitely have some understanding there. We can pull directly from the Bible. We're also going to make sure that we leverage your gifts as well and your empathy, meaning the entire point of business is to help people solve problems. If there were no problems in the world, there would be no need for any businesses. So we want to identify, and I think it's really important to address and tackle a problem that you yourself have faced or someone close to you have faced, that you have a natural level of empathy that can't be manufactured. Love will keep you going on the hard days, because there will be hard days as an entrepreneur. Love will keep you aligned when there's another shiny object that comes along and there's an audience that seems easier to reach or easier to sell to. Building your business on that level of empathy is really important. So after you get some clarity on your gifts, I want to jump over into the empathy circle. The questions I want you to ask yourself now are, what problems have I overcome in my life? What problems have I overcome in my life? Or what problems am I on the path to overcoming? Meaning, for example, one of the key problems I help entrepreneurs with is imposter syndrome and shiny object syndrome. Those two are very prevalent in our space, and I have overcome them to a degree, but I still wrestle with them, right? And so that does not disqualify you, because we will always have sin present in our life, right? But it no longer has the same stranglehold or power over you, because you've experienced some level of redemption. Okay? So I want you to think about your empathy circle in those terms. What problems have I faced? What people groups do I see that are facing a problem that have a natural level of empathy for? Another way of looking at it is, when you walk into a room of 100 people, who is that person you naturally gravitate towards? And not only naturally gravitate towards, but when they start to complain about the problems, you lean in instead of rolling your eyes. You want to hear it, and you can relate to it. You're like, I know what it's like to be there. Because let me just say this, as coaches, it's really, really important that you meet your audience where they're at. And if you're uncomfortable to go there, if you can't relate in any capacity, you're just not be able to help them. You might have all the solutions, but if you don't have empathy, you're gonna have a really hard time meeting people where they're at. All right? Raise your hand if you have your empathy circle done. I'm gonna give a few more minutes, maybe 1 minute. It's also important to note that not everybody you have empathy for is going to fit into the audience of your business. Doesn't mean that it's not a gift from God. He gave you empathy for that group of people, but we also have to make sure that you have relevant gifts that you're bringing to the table that can serve that group of people. And so I have empathy for kids who are in the foster care system who don't have a home. But I'm serving that audience. I can serve that audience in the rest of my life, but it's not the audience I serve in my business, right? So I'm sure there's several different groups of people and several different problems that you're passionate about. I want you to just take full inventory of them right now, and then we'll find out what group you're best positioned to serve as it relates to overlapping with your gift circle and your life purpose circle. One of the really cool things that I've seen with purpose-driven entrepreneurs is that a lot of times the gifts that you have are gifts that have been developed because you faced the problems in your empathy circle. So the reason that I am passionate and now gifted in helping entrepreneurs align their purpose and their profit is because I sucked at it. I was terrible at it. I didn't know how to do it. And so I developed that gift. God used that. You could call it a trial, like James does. God used that trial, right, to teach me. And now that I've learned from that, I now can help others in that problem because I myself have faced it, right? And so there is typically a lot of alignment that happens with the gifts and empathy, but not everything in your gift circle will be used in your business, and not everything in your empathy circle will be used in your business. Right now, we just want to take full inventory. Lisa says her mission statement is, I help women who've been abandoned or abused find the ability to forgive and develop gratitude even for a painful past. And I love that, and the reason Lisa has that is because we've worked together. She's actually in one of my cohorts right now. Next week is our last call together in our cohort. But man, you've been amazing, Lisa. That Venn diagram provided great clarity for me. Yeah, and we're breezing through this. Sometimes this takes time, but my goal is for us to have at least a rough draft that we can pray and meditate on. Let's move to the life purpose circle. As Christians, we have an amazing starting point because we know to some degree that our calling, no matter what we do, whether we're an entrepreneur or not, is to love God and love people. Or you could say to glorify God and love people. Or there's a lot of different words that you could use, and the Bible does use a lot of different language to communicate the essence of that. And so what I want you to do at your life purpose circle here is to write down what that means to you. What is your purpose in all of life, not just in business? As a mother, as a father, as a son, as a friend, as an entrepreneur, as a community member, as a spouse, what's something that is so large and so much bigger than you that you can be that in any role, in any context, at any time, right? You can love God and love people, and that's a life purpose that will keep you on task no matter what role you're playing in that moment. Does that make sense? It's that big picture. So some of the prompts would be, why am I on this earth? All right, let's do a live spotlight real quick. So I'd like for you guys to see what it looks like to bring these circles together. Who is close? Who is close to having you have each of your circles filled out, and you have some kind of idea of what could be in the middle here? Raise your hand, or maybe even put yourself in the chat. Actually, it'd be easier if you raise your hand physically, so I can go and look and see. And then that way I can bring you on and spotlight you. Basically, what I'm going to help you do is draft a one-sentence mission statement from the circles that you've created. Any brave volunteers? Okay, I can't see all of you at the same time. So actually, let's do chat. Joni raise her hand. So let's find Joni. Where are you, Joni? Sometimes I have an assistant on the call with me, and that helps. There we go. All right, let's put you onto. All right.
I won't be able to turn my camera on because my forward facing that faces me is broken, so I can't get it turned. Come on.
Hey, what did you put? Hey, first of all, thanks for being a brave soul and coming on and putting yourself out there. Major props to you. What did you put for your life purpose?
Life purpose is I'm good at creative thinking, arts, crafts, coming up with ideas. I'm also good at accounting, making ends meet. Also analyzing other people's other people's finances,
Okay.
and I can keep going.
That's awesome. What about your empathy circle?
My empathy circle is those in addiction, families that are recovering from hardships, cancer patients, and those in domestic violence situations.
Yeah. Have you seen any overlap in your ability to help with accounting and finances and creative thinking?
Yes.
Have you been able to apply that to any of the groups you mentioned?
Yes.
And what group was that? Tell me about that person or those individuals.
The two, actually, each of the three groups, there is a term for cancer patients called financial toxicity, and it's the level of toxicness that can happen from lack of medical insurance, lack of finances to get the proper nutrition that they need. So it all stems around the lack of finances. And being an accountant, I help connect these groups with the education and the resources to get out of those hard financial situations, to be empowered with the tools that they need to get financially stable, healthy.
Yeah, yeah. And the financial toxicity, that's something specifically that cancer patients face. Is that correct?
That is correct. It is a term that the National Cancer Society and the National Cancer Institute has deemed, and there
Okay.
is a ton of research from the medical side on the effects of my finances on, cancer patients, but there's not much research done from the financial side. So there's a gap between the two.
Understood, understood. And man, that is really cool. Do you have a certain level of empathy for cancer patients?
Yes, I do. I am a stage 4C malignant melanoma cancer patient. Um, and I have experienced uh, many levels of financial toxicity.
Wow. Um, that
And I
is
have all my dissertation and my doctorate in accounting.
that's incredible. Um, just quick side note, I love people are putting their mission statement on the side. That's going to be helpful. So if you have a rough draft of your mission statement, go ahead and put it on the right side. We'll see if we can get to that. Joni, I want to just thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that. That is absolutely beautiful what God has done in your life and what He's calling you to. So now the really cool thing, because you have so much clarity on these circles, is we can actually move forward with this. Is it fair to say your life purpose is something along the lines of love God and love people?
Yes,
Okay, awesome. So what we want to do, and it's important that we involve all three of these circles, because if you just exist here in the overlap, you won't find purpose, right? Because you're designed for your business to be one expression of your life purpose. If you just build here where you know your life purpose and you have empathy, but you don't bring relevant gifts to the table, you're going to be you're going to have so much meaning, but not be helpful, right? And if you build right here where you know your gifts and you bring them to the table and you know what your life purpose is, but you haven't identified a specific group of people, you're not going to be profitable because you won't have clients, because you won't be able to meet people where they're at. Okay? So the fact that you have all three of these circles filled out means we can build something here right in the center. Does that make sense to everybody?
yes.
Cool. All right, so let's use some criteria here to get to one sentence. Um, for someone facing financial toxicity, and I want you guys, each of you who are thinking through your own mission statement right now, I want you to think about the problem that your mission statement helps solve. Okay? What is the anecdote? What is the solution? What does redemption look like for someone who is in financial toxicity, Joni?
It would be financial management,
Okay.
uh, attaining resources and properly stewarding those resources.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh, I could also add one of these on the gifts. I'm gifted with small businesses and startups.
What did you say about small businesses and startups?
Small businesses and startups. I'm gifted in helping with their finances, getting them established, getting budgets, their bookkeeping and payroll, taxes, that type of thing.
Okay, understood. Okay, awesome. So if this is the solution, we want to run this by a couple criteria. Um, Number one, is this something that you are, and you've already answered this question, but personally passionate about and would find meaningful helping people with? And I believe you've already answered that yes, because it's in your empathy circle, correct?
Hmm. Correct.
Is financial stewardship good inherently? Meaning, in any context, in any circumstance, is it always good to be a financial steward?
Yes.
Yeah, that's fantastic, and that's huge because a lot of times what I see is entrepreneurs build their business around a temporary milestone, something that you either are a failure in until you hit it, and then once you hit it, you're like successful and you graduate and you're done. Financial stewardship is something that you can pursue forever, right? And you can decide today whether you're a steward of your finances or not. So that's a fair metric because you're in control of the results. For example, my previous business, I used to help entrepreneurs hit 6 figures. It was a temporary milestone, and we weren't fully in control of the results. And so I felt like a failure until I hit 6 figures. And then when I did, I was like, okay, well, like what now? Right? I didn't have a mission big enough, and it wasn't even bigger than me. How excited are people going to be about helping me make 6 figures? Like that's just hard to get people. So you want to have a mission that's bigger than you, right? And so you can pursue financial stewardship while you help other people pursue financial stewardship, right? Is that fair? That you're still in the journey, that you haven't
Oh,
graduated
yes.
financial stewardship?
From your view,
100% still on
from
the
your
journey.
view.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so something like we help cancer. What
There's meat inside the
like
news now.
is cancer
And
patients?
there's egg.
If Can I have everybody mute your mic? All right, actually, I just found the button. Okay, cool. But what term do you like to use to address your audience? Do you like to use cancer patients, or like what term do you use?
That's where I've been struggling because it's not just cancer patients that that can experience financial toxicity.
Mhm.
There's a level with those that are in recovery. They've got a financial mess, and sometimes that can keep them in, in the bad habits of making money, and they also need the skills to grow their money. And those that have been in domestic violence situations absolutely can experience financial toxicity too. So I am having a hard time nailing down one specific group um, that everybody needs it. So what do you do?
Yeah, but there's a big difference between who needs it and who are you empathetic towards. There's a big difference because everybody needs
Mhm.
financial stewardship, just like everybody needs to love people, right? Just like everybody needs to obey God's voice. I'm just going through
Right.
vision statements I've worked with through before. Like everybody needs that, but you're gonna be most impactful if you can meet a specific group of people right where they're in, right where they're at, and the specific pains that they're dealing with, and the specific problems that they're facing in their context. That's where you're gonna be most profitable and impactful. So let's and the words here aren't as important because this isn't necessarily an external marketing message as much as it is for you to have internal alignment to know the direction that you're going. So it could be something along the lines of we help cancer patients embrace financial stewardship in their life. Okay, so that's something that you can pursue indefinitely. It's something that you can be in the journey with your audience. It's something bigger than you that other people get excited about. It's not a personal wish list item. It's something that you can control. So you can decide, no matter how much money you have, whether you're a steward or not, whether you steward the funds that God's given you or not, right? And so that hits all of the criteria. What are your thoughts on that?
I like that one. And I would do a second one that we help small business owners align their business finances with biblical principles of finance. Something
Mm-hmm.
along that line, stewardship.
Yeah, and I bet if we were to work a little bit more, have more time to work on this, there probably is some overlap between
Hmm.
people who have financial toxicity and small businesses. And it could be that those small businesses are already working with your clients in a different capacity, and those could be potential partners for you. It could be that people who have cancer are also entrepreneurs. There's probably some overlap there that we could probably go deeper on. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I love it. I love it. Hey, thanks for coming on and being willing to put yourself out there. And yeah, major props to you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Cool. So let's look at some of. Let me see if I can get you off of the remove. Okay, sweet. Oh wow, now I can see everybody. Let's see. Keyboy says I help Christian entrepreneurs go from feeling overwhelmed to purposeless in their business, go to aligning their business with their faith, scale their business while still having intimate time with God and a work-family balance. Okay, so here's what's really important to know. There is a difference between the mission and how you pursue the mission. So let's say that let's bring on, let's see, let's just use Keyboy's example here. So Christian entrepreneurs go from feeling overwhelmed, and it's not necessary that you name the problem in the mission statement, that it's kind of implied when you put the solution there. And it also kind of gives your audience it doesn't feel so weird because sometimes people won't raise their hand for the real problem underneath of what's really happening. They're more kind of see the surface level symptoms. And so when you name the problem symptoms, it's not going to relate as much to your audience. But when you have the mission, that will really attract them and help them understand what you're doing. But let's see, I help Christian entrepreneurs go from feeling, okay, in the business, go to align their business with their faith, okay, and scale their business while still having intimate time with God and a work-family balance. Okay, so let's say the mission is align business with faith. Now, we all know that action is required to pursue your mission, right? And for your audience, the same is true, right? And in order for, if you're a business coach, in order for your audience to align their business to their faith, there are specific things that you have to do in order to be in alignment with that. Fair? So, Kivoy, one of the things that you listed was having intimate time with God and work. Okay. Oh, and a work-family balance. Okay, so intimate time with God. So that's one of the things that you list. Intimate time with God. Another thing that you list is work-life balance. Another thing that you list is scaling. So you have to have, probably need to have systems to scale. Okay, so there's a difference between your action steps to pursuing your mission and the mission itself. So this is the compass. This is the direction that we're going. This is how in which you do it. So the next step after you have your one sentence mission statement draft is to put down what are the action steps? What is it going to take tangibly to pursue this mission? Those are the action steps. And typically there's about 4 to 6 of them. Then the next step is asking yourself, what do I have to believe in order to pursue this action? Can you guys see my whiteboard? I just realized I took myself out of spotlight. Okay. What do you have to believe in order to take action? Because James says faith without works is dead faith. So all of our actions are motivated by belief. So if you want to help people pursue your mission, you have to help them take action. But in order to help them take action, you have to help them believe truth. Because really, the problems that we face in our lives are almost always at a belief level, right? But when most marketers do, when they're marketing their coaching business, is they go to a street corner and they shout out what you should do and shouldn't do. The problem is if they knew that, if they knew what to, if that's all that they needed, they would have done it a long time ago. What people really wrestle with is belief. And so you can build your marketing around helping people believe truth. If you help them believe truth, they'll necessarily change their actions. And if they change their actions, they'll necessarily get different results. So the way in which you glorify God and love people through your marketing is actually helping people believe truth. So what does someone need to believe in order to spend intimate time with God? You probably need to believe that God cares for you, that God wants to have intimate time with you, that God wants to relate with you, that God does relate with you, right? There's maybe a couple different things that you could say there. What do you need to believe in order to have a healthy work-life balance, right? For me, if I'm spending way too much time in my business, I'm believing my worth comes from my business. I have to spend time there because that's where I'm getting my validation. That's where I'm getting my worth, right? What would switch that? It's believing that my worth and my validation comes from Christ, right? If I were to help someone believe that, if I were to believe that myself, then I necessarily would have a healthier balance in my life. What do you need to believe to build systems? Right? Why do so many people struggle with shiny object syndrome, including myself from time to time? Right? Because we don't have the clarity on what God is actually calling us to do. We don't have the clarity on what steps to take it and tangibly pursuing this calling. So what do I need to believe? What do I need to believe to implement systems into my business? Maybe that I'm a finite human being. It's something that I shared earlier. When we get to that point where we have the clarity and we start to put these processes in place, we have to understand that we're finite human beings. And so you cannot manage 250, 500 relationships, 1,000, 50,000 relationships. You just can't, right? That's why you have to hire other people. That's why I put systems, processes in place that would empower other people to work with you in your mission. Okay, so that's the difference between a mission and your action steps. Both are really important. The mission is your compass. The action steps are how you walk in alignment with that compass. Let's look at another one. Elise said, we help moms with young kids create peace in their lives, families, and businesses. And I love this. I worked with Elise. She graduated from my cohort. She's in my mastermind now. Love it. She helps moms with young kids create peace in their lives, families, and businesses. She brings a lot of really relevant gifts to the table. She runs a VA agency, and so she knows how to delegate in business, and she's learning how, and has done in her own life and in her family, how to put systems in place and processes in place. Brooke said, you helped me with my mission statement. She's also been through my cohort. Amazing person. I'm actually coaching her sister right now, who's also an amazing person. We help families with unique needs walk in the joy and peace of everything God has called them to be. Yeah, she helps families with who have children with neurodivergence. Is that the right word? Kyle says, I build stronger, more inspired teams and leaders by strengthening their ability to communicate and hold both themselves and others accountable. Yeah. Yeah, I love that. So his X, I flipped the board, didn't I, or erased it. The X, the target audience, is leaders, right, who are leading teams, and the mission, strengthen their ability to communicate and hold both themselves and others accountable. Is it always good for a leader to be accountable? I would say yes. Is it always good for a leader to communicate? Yes, as long as it's healthy communication, absolutely, right? So there's a mission worth pursuing. Awesome. And I'm sure, and I've talked to Kyle once or twice, maybe I think twice, and we identify, like, there's specific ways in how you seek out accountability. There's specific ways in how you communicate as a leader. Those are the action steps, right? And there's specific core beliefs that would motivate a leader to communicate in a healthy way with his team, to seek out accountability. That accountability is actually for you, and it's actually good for you, right? Cool, we get the idea. So what I want to do something really cool. I want to create a couple breakout rooms and put maybe, let's say, 4 people per breakout room. And if you don't have your one business mission statement drafts, that's okay. You can listen in and you can share the little bit of clarity that you have, and maybe the business that you're already running or want to start. Totally cool. If you have a rough draft of your mission statement, I would love for you to just share that with other people, other Christian coaches, and that's going to kind of segue us into the next step, which is getting into more of the marketing and systems side of things. Does that sound cool? All right, so I'm going to create, let's see. I'm going to create 8 breakout rooms, assign automatically. I'm going to put a timer. Let's say we'll come back at 3 o'clock. And that'll give us 10 minutes. And so each person will have about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes to share. So just be conscientious of the time that you're taking and make sure you give time to listen to everybody else. And maybe you might see some overlap with the mission statements. Maybe you'll see some overlap with who everybody is serving. And maybe that'll be a really cool thing. We'll see what God does, and we'll come back, and then we'll move into the next segment, which is getting more into the marketing systems. Sound cool? Any questions? I have it set up to where we're creating 8 breakout rooms and assigning automatically. So hopefully you automatically get added into that room, and then I should be able to delete all the breakout rooms in 10 minutes, and we'll be back here. If you have any questions or run into these snags, just shoot me a message through the chat. was awesome. Hope you guys let us know in the chat what you took away from that quick 10-minute meeting. I hope that encouraged you. There's a lot of people who are like you, who are in coaching, who have a heart to serve and love people just like you, and we're on the same team. And that kind of leads into one of the frameworks I want to talk about, because a lot of the questions I get is, how do I grow my audience? And I think it's the wrong question, because you don't grow your audience. Your audience already exists long before you. And they're shopping in other places, and they're hanging out in other places, and they're listening to other people. And that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing that they have lives that are bigger than your businesses. It's a really good thing. And the people who are also loving and serving your audience are on the same side as you, right? Because if your mission is to love and serve your audience, and there's other people loving and serving your audience, they're necessarily on the same side as you. They're not competitors, right? So how can we build our business by partnering rather than competing? Let me show you what competing looks like. It looks like paying money on ads to outbid all the rest of the competition. And it becomes who has the most money, right? Who can afford my audience, right? That's the question, right? The other option that looks like competing is competing for their attention, meaning you show up to interrupt their scroll. You show up to interrupt their email inbox. I mean, everybody, just a reminder to put your mute on so we don't have any background noise. But that's what the competing looks like. It looks like bidding against the people who are also trying to love and serve your people. And it also looks like, just showing up and interrupting their day, interrupting their scroll with an ad, or interrupting their mailbox, with unsolicited messages, or their spamming people's messengers. It's just not an effective, long-term, sustainable way to build your business. What it is building strategic partnerships that are three-way mutually beneficial. What I mean by that is it's beneficial for you, it's beneficial for the partner you're partnering with, and it's beneficial ultimately for the person who is receiving the value, meaning your audience, okay? Anytime all three of those things happen, it's a partnership that you should take every single time, okay? So there's 1,000 different ways to structure these types of partnerships, but I want to talk about a few. The first is the most obvious, which is you guys just met a few people where maybe there's a little bit of overlap. Let me give an example. I've worked with a lot of people who work with, let's say, single women, right? And they're struggling with maybe their health, or maybe in different areas of their life. They're life coaches. They're kind of touching on different subjects, okay? And I've also worked with people who are relationship coaches where they only work with the couple, right? And so you may find that as a life coach, the person you're coaching, or the person you're meeting with, really just needs relationship coaching with the husband and the wife present, right? How can you build a partnership where you benefit as a life coach, where the relationship coaches benefit, and ultimately the person you're on a call with in that moment benefits, right? You can build out a money-based partnership where you collect a commission for sending that referral to that relationship coach, right? That's one option. There's content-based partnerships, which is, hey, build out valuable resources for your audience that are in your realm of experience and expertise, right? So let's say some of you have podcasts, some of you have Facebook groups, some of you have email lists, some of you already have the attention of your audience that overlaps with someone else, but they bring different gifts and experience and skill sets to the table. And so what you want to look for is other people who are serving your audience, but they're bringing other gifts to the table. That's what you should be looking for when you're thinking of a potential mission partner. I've been able to do workshops in Facebook groups of 200,000 entrepreneurs because I brought something unique to the table that served a segment of that audience, right? And for anybody, this workshop is another great example. Doing this workshop, all of you right now are here because of a mission partner of mine, okay? So I have partnered with people who already had your attention. You were willingly giving your attention to those influencers because they were already speaking value and serving you in some way. Some of you were inside of Facebook groups where that was meeting your need for community and questions and answers in your industry. So, business Facebook groups, Christian business Facebook groups, Christian podcasting groups. I have built partnerships with people who have influence in those spaces, right? Going on podcasts, right? That's almost always free, where you can tap into an audience that you otherwise never would have had an opportunity to access. Now, why is that more beneficial than paying for ads or sending unsolicited messages? Number one, it provides so much more credibility because you're showing up as a vetted guest. You're showing up and someone is inviting you onto their platform, and that person that's inviting you onto their platform already has a relationship, already has poured into your life in some capacity. We're making an assumption here, saying maybe they've listened to your podcast for longer than just that episode where you showed up. Okay. Someone said having trouble getting on podcasts. Is there a trick? Lori, so great question. So there's a few ways. Number one, there is a Facebook group called Christian Podcasters that some of you are in. I know that some of you are in it because that's one of my key mission partners. Okay. What they will do in that group a lot of times is they will post a picture of themselves or like kind of like their cover image, and they'll say, hey, these are the gifts that I bring to the table. I would love to be on a podcast to provide value to these types of audiences. Sometimes you'll have people respond back and say, yeah, I'd love to have you on my podcast. I've seen people book podcasts that way. Another way is the people that you listen to are probably people that your audience also listens to. So as you're building relationships and learning from different individuals, you can reach out to those people and say, hey, well, do you have a guest application that I can fill out, right? It is worth going, and a lot of times when I'm reaching out to potential mission partners, I kind of lay aside my presupposed agenda and just say, hey, can we hop on a call and see how we can serve each other's audiences with my gifts and with your gifts? I know your mission is this, and my mission is this. There's some overlap here. Can we hop on a call and talk about different ways to work together? Almost all of my mission partnerships have come from that. It's just laying down your preconceived ideas of how it's supposed to work out and find creative ways to add value to you, to the partner, and ultimately the best partnerships, both partners are thinking about how do we add value to the audience. Because let's be honest, if you were just in that Facebook group and you never heard from me, you're missing out on the gifts that I bring to the table. And if I never spoke in this format, I'm missing out on the gifts that you guys bring to the table, right? We don't have the opportunity to work together. You wouldn't have the opportunity to meet each other, right? And so you're laying down your preconceived ideas and saying, hey, can we just hop on a call and see where this synergy might work together? Does that make sense? You have content because your mission partner is looking for the same thing that you are, right? They're looking to serve their audience and make money. There's your value proposition. Serve their audience with their gifts that you have, meaning build out resources, create a free PDF guide, build out a free video training, create an assessment using Typeform, lead a workshop in someone else's audience, right? So I've been able to go to other masterminds and inner circles, and you guys are in the coaching space. You know how many different words we use for masterminds and inner circles and all these different, like, show up. And whether there's 3 people on the call or 300, like, I don't put boundaries around the quality of information that I give. Like, in this time, we have 2 hours. I'm gonna give you absolutely everything that I can. Can I fit my entire 12-week coaching program in these 2 hours? Absolutely not. But I'm gonna do the best that I can to fit as much as I can in that time, right? To give you the most value possible. But I do put boundaries on the quantity of time and energy they give away, because that's what's finite, right? So you guys have finite time and energy. Put boundaries around how much you give away, but when you are invited to speak on someone's podcast, when you're invited into someone else's inner circle or mastermind, or you're allowed to speak to someone else's email list or whatever that is, show up and give without fear. That is your best marketing. Share your story, man. Like the story that you guys have faced when we talked about the empathy circle of overcoming that problem that you're now helping your audience overcome. There's nothing more powerful than your own story in that context. So share your story. Share the moment where you experienced that problem? When was the last time you felt the effects of the problem that your audience is facing right now? Share that moment. Relive that scene with them. Walk them through the steps that you went through that brought redemption to your situation. Share the outcomes. Share the benefits. What happens when you learn how to communicate effectively and hold yourself accountable and find accountability partners? Kyle, what happens? All of a sudden your teams trust you. All of a sudden you have a culture. All of a sudden your team wants to work with you. All of a sudden you're completing tasks, you're completing goals. Talk about it. Tell me the benefits, right? But don't tell me the benefits until you tell me you know what the problem is. And the way I know you know what the problem is because you're telling your story vulnerably. And you're saying, I've walked through this. I'm not perfect at accountability. I'm not perfect at communication. But these are the things that God has been teaching me, right? So if you're scared to tell your story, detach your worth from your story. Your worth doesn't come from the bad things that you've done in your life. There's a big difference between hating a problem and empathizing with it. Empathizing with a problem means that you've received grace in that area and probably corresponding gifting. Hating a problem means you're projecting and you're seeing a problem that you haven't yet received grace for. So if you're really empathizing with a problem, it means that it carries no bondage and no weight over you anymore because you have received grace from God in that area. And you can now pour that out on other people. If you want to be good leaders, if you want to be an entrepreneur, let it be overflow of who you are as a person. If you want to invest in other people, invest in yourself first because it's naturally going to overflow. Okay? So the hardest thing to do when we walk through these steps is to follow your own action steps. Every single time, there's no exception to this. Every person that I've coached, they can follow everybody else's what I call the mission roadmap, which is your action steps and core beliefs, right? Every single person I've coached, the hardest action steps to follow was their own. Why? Because God still has something to teach you in these areas. Why? Because he wants you to continue to grow. Why? Because he wants you to continue to lead people. And if you're not growing, and eventually you won't be able to continue to teach. And let me just say from a profit standpoint, that's very unprofitable. If your client, if you stop growing as a person, they will catch up to you and they're done. They graduated from your program, you're done. Right? You have to replace your income every 3 months. Right? The reason that I have an active mastermind that has existed for the last year and a half is because they would have left a long time ago unless I was still continuing to learn my own frameworks, unless I was continuing to follow my own frameworks and continue to believe. The hard thing, believing truth is a simple concept, but it's very hard to do. How do we believe truth? By the word of testimony. Your own story, looking back at what God's done in your own story, but also surrounding yourself with other people, right? Who are willing to speak words of life and wisdom to you, who are willing to hold you accountable, right? That's why we're coaches, right? We hold people accountable. We listen to their story. We pour words of life and wisdom into their life, right? So if you're scared to tell your story, detach your worth from it. You're in the journey. You don't have to position yourself as a perfect expert. The reason you guys are listening to me is not because I made a promise that I have perfectly figured out how to love people through business and I'm an 8-figure brand and I'm done and it's not that. It's not why you're here. Okay, and yet you still showed up. And so now you can be honest about where you're really at in your story. You can share that vulnerably, and it doesn't disqualify you, it actually equips you. What you think is disqualifying you from being the coach that God has called you to be is the exact thing that's equipping you. The fact that you're still facing trials is the very thing that God is using. James says this, the thing that God is using is the trial, is the suffering, is the fact that you're not graduated and fully sanctified and glorified, like you're just not in heaven yet. That's okay. So share your story vulnerably. That's the most attractive, most effective marketing tool that you have at your disposal. The next one is building a community where you allow your audience to speak to each other. What I'm going to offer to you at the end of this call is I'm going to invite you to be in community with other people who are applying the same frameworks and allow you to speak to each other. Instead of me just blasting you with text and Facebook messages and just one-way communication, or making announcements, everything's about me. like two-way communication is better than that, right? Like we just allow the person to respond back to you, and maybe you get some emails back, maybe some. Another really cool thing is when you allow your audience to speak to each other, and that's why we did this breakout room, right? Because I only bring so much to the table, right? And as coaches, you know the power. I mean, I don't have to coach you guys. Like, you know the power of other people, right? Almost, I guarantee most of you in your action steps somewhere is going to be healthy relationships with other individuals, community. Some level of that, it probably is in your action steps, in your mission roadmap, right? Because we need people. So build that out as an act. When you build out your action steps, build out resources that align with your action steps. And by the way, if it's not on your action steps, it's fluff. You shouldn't be talking about it. And if it's not part of your core beliefs, it's fluff. You shouldn't be talking about it, right? So if you write a book, here's your outline. If you give a TED Talk, here's your outline. This is it. This is what provides redemption. Don't talk about anything else in your business, in your life. Talk about whatever you want, right? But in your business, if these are the things that actually put people in alignment with the mission that solves their problem, and these are the core beliefs that are actually going to motivate people to believe truth, you are obligated. Like, this is it. This is your workshop. This is your book. This is your podcast episode. Don't worry about what to talk about anymore. Just go deeper and deeper in application of what this looks like practically for you and your audience. Does that make sense? Joni says, I have joined programs just for the community. Bring on the word, God. I need to hear this today. Praise God. Praise God. All right. Whew. I got a little carried away there.
You was preaching, dude. That's all right.
What if I'm scared to tell my story? How do I grow my audience? It's not your audience to begin with. How do I put all the pieces together? Everything should be in alignment with your mission. If the shiny object doesn't align with your action steps and putting and building out resources to put this into the hands of your people and helping people believe truth. How do people believe truth? Through stories and through their own experience. You can't convince me this chair is not going to hold me up right now because it's holding me up. I'm experiencing it in this moment. How can you create experiences for your audience to taste and see that this mission is actually good for them? Right? So you can that's where your lead magnets come in, right? Like your free PDF, your workshops, all of your assessments, all of those things. All right, let's move on to the next thing. Is it wrong to charge money? Ooh, this is a question. This is a problem that we run into because we're Christians, and so we believe that for some reason we shouldn't charge for that. And I like to take it a step further. It's not only not wrong to charge money. It's actually removing a piece of redemption in your client's life when you don't require that they invest their treasure. Matthew 6:21 says, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. The reason that we tithe is not because God needs our money. It's for you. It's for you, because when you tithe, you are leading your heart. You lead your heart by what you give your money and attention to. Your treasure is your time, it's your energy, it's your finances, right? Bye, Sharon. Thanks for coming in. Your coaching of your clients doesn't begin at your program launch date. It begins with the very first conversation where you make that offer for them to pay money. Because the moment that they invest in the mission, they've started to lead their heart. They've already started the journey. They're already jumping in with 2 feet. So when you're coaching people, think about the coaching journey starting at the very first point of contact. The reason, like, boundaries aren't just good for you; they're good for other people too. Right? Part of loving, we think, like, I won't project here. I used to think that it was like love people but have boundaries. No, love people through your boundaries. It's not like you give 50% love and then you have like these other weird things. It's like part of loving people is asking them to lead their hearts. Part of loving people is staying in business so you can continue to help them. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to because you need to pay bills as well, right? So, any questions on that? Yeah, Letitia says, Workman is worthy of its hire. Luke 10:7. Beautiful. Beautiful. Let's talk about how do I close deals if nobody has any questions about charging your clients. Oh, real quick, how much should you charge? Let's talk about that for a second. Is that something that you guys want to talk about? Knowing how much to charge? And I don't have the exact number, but I have the bare minimum that you should be. Got to remember, everything for me is a Venn diagram. I love Venn diagrams. I don't know why, but you guys can still see my whiteboard. Okay. So first thing to consider is the market. And this is just a good gauge to have. Like, what is the cheapest cost in the market for something comparable to your product or service? What's the cheapest one? What's the most expensive? Ideally, you're somewhere in the middle. Okay. Next one, what I call the sustainability circle. And that is a little math equation. So let's say you're wanting to go into coaching full time. You want to spend 40 hours a week. Obviously, not 40 hours of coaching. Let's say you have 10 hours a week, 20 hours a week. Let's say 20 hours a week for paid projects. So if you're just doing coaching, it would just be coaching. You would include the mastermind in that. You basically paid activities, so not administrative work, not checking your email, not checking social media, not anything, not your own personal development. It would be just client work. Let's say you have 20 hours. That's half of your time is actually spent doing delivering. Okay, so that's you have 80 hours, and let's say you need to make, let's say $8,000 a month. So you're probably going to end up profiting about 4,000 or 5,000 of that. So let's just say at a minimum, you need to make 8,000 a month from that. And you've got 20, 40, 60, 80 hours to give per month at 20 per week. So 8,000 divided by 80. So you need to make at least $100 an hour. This is the bare minimum, right? This is just for you to stay in business longer than 2 months, right? And everything. So now what you can do is, okay, let's say I'm running a coaching program. It's 3 months long, and we meet once a week. So that's 1 hour a week right there. But then it takes me about 2 hours to get prepared. It takes another hour to answer questions throughout the week, whatever. Let's say it's about 4 hours a week. So that's 4, 8, 12, 16 hours a week per program or per cohort, assuming you're doing group coaching. Okay, so that's 16 hours a month. And 100 times 16, I should be able to do that in my mind, is 1,600. So if you're doing one-on-one, you need to be charging at least 1,600 per client. This is the reason I like doing group coaching, because you can divide that number by, say, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people. Okay? And so that's how you figure out your bare minimum. This is just for me to be sustainable. You need to know how much you need to be making in order for you to stay in business full time. That will give you your hourly rate. And then from there, you can figure out how many hours are going to go into this paid offer that I'm launching. Does that make sense? In a mastermind community, how much time you spend with the members and what do you do during that time? Awesome. So in my mastermind, we have a 1 hour Zoom call every Wednesday at 12 o'clock. And so there's that hour. We also have a tech office hour where you can come in and get any tech question answered over screen share. However, I don't lead that. I brought in another coach. So that's not one of my hours, but it is a value add. So you could count that because you have to probably pay for that to bring another coach in, right? Let's see. And then I probably spend another hour like setting up calls each week, because a lot of times I'm bringing like outside experts and speakers to come speak to the mastermind, or I'll prepare my own thing. And then I'll probably have like at least an hour or two where I'm just interacting with members as they share their projects, hold people accountable who has to be held accountable that week. So I don't know, what is that, 4? Yeah, maybe like maybe 3 hours a week. Because I don't bring in paid experts. It's usually like once every other week or once a month. Does that answer your question? Yeah, probably like 3 hours a week on the mastermind. That's probably generous. All right. So is it wrong to charge money? Absolutely not. It's part of loving people. It's part of asking people to lead their hearts. That's how you know how much to charge at a minimum. Do I have to work with Christians? That was another question that popped up. Absolutely not. I've worked, it was a really, really cool experience for me. I got to work with a non-Christian. And my mission statement is help entrepreneurs love people with aligned business systems. So I have an inherently good mission. It's always good to love people through business. And I told her, I was like, hey, I just want you to know, like my frameworks come from biblical principles. Are you okay with that? It's like, yeah, I know it works. Like, as long as it works, like I want that. I'm like, all right, cool. And so I was just very transparent with her, like where I was coming from and where my faith background was. And she was okay with that. And I taught her biblical principles. And she said it was the best business investment that she'd ever made. And so I think that is like, there's opportunities there, right? Like to introduce people to the source of your mission, like to introduce people to the source of love, the source of obedience, the source of accountability, the source of communication. Like, I think it's very trendy right now to want to love people. A lot of people just don't know who love is. And that gives me a perfect segue to show them who love is, right? So no, absolutely. If you have a Christian business, that doesn't mean you have to only serve Christian entrepreneurs or Christian individuals. All right, how do I close deals? Boom, let's jump into systems. Okay, so let's talk. Oh wait, we didn't even get to the third one. Honestly, we have to talk about systems. Okay, the sustainability circle is the main thing. That's what you need to know. At least hit that minimum. Honestly, I can't even think of what the third circle is right now, which is crazy. Anyways, the main thing is at least you're charging. Oh, the third circle is you should be providing at least the amount of value to someone's life that you are charging, and that's almost never an issue. Most people underestimate the value that they're bringing to the table. All right. So one of the things that we talked about, in order to like have any clients at all, you have to have the attention of your audience, right? And so we talked about, well, how do I get the attention of my audience beyond just spamming my, friends and family, people who I already know, right? So we talked about like spanning outside of your current spheres of influence with mission partners, right? Okay, now you have your audience's attention. What in the world do you say, right? What about what I offer, right? Which is like basically, how do I deliver value once I have their attention? So from your mission partners, that's where you tell your story and offer a free resource. You guys see this happen all the time, right? In podcast interviews, right? Some person tells their story. At the end, they offer a resource. Same thing with here, right? Like on this workshop, I told a little bit of my story. I know where a lot of you guys are or have been, right? And then at the this is the resource, me providing the content. But then I make my offer. Okay. Now the really important thing here too, that it doesn't become slimy or weird, is like if you're actually delivering value like at this level before you make your offer, that's really, really important. Another option too, and a lot of people do this. I don't do this as much with the workshop, but you can offer a free coaching call, because in some form, if you're not doing a workshop, like say you're doing a PDF or a video training, they need to meet you before they're going to pay you to coach them. They need to know what your coaching style is like. They need to see who you are, right? So you probably are going to need to offer that free coaching call, right? And this goes back to the boundaries, right? But boundaries are on the quantity of time and energy that you give away, but not the quality. So really show up for that person in that 30 minutes or 45 minutes or however much time you set aside, right? And then you can make your offer. Some people go straight from story research to offer. I most of the time like to have a free coaching call, except I can't have a free coaching call with all of you on this workshop. This kind of is replacing that. And then from your offer, you have your clients. And then from your clients, you actually want to convert your clients into more mission partners. And thus the cycle repeats. How do you convert your clients into mission partners? Well, we don't talk about this in the marketing space at all, but having a really good product is really good marketing. It's part of having really good marketing. You want to get referrals, and really show up for your clients. That's one way. Another way is get a testimonial from them. Another way is get a survey, have a feedback survey to improve. And I have some amazing testimonials that have helped people overcome, like, is this guy just another guru? Like, is he just gonna take my money and then I can't find out where to reach him? And that happens a lot in the coaching space, right? Because now anybody can call themselves a coach, right? So really show up your clients and gain that testimonial. And sometimes even your audience knows other people like them, right? Like Brooke really knows her sister, right? She already happens to know her. Who's also in the same space as her as a coach. And sometimes your clients will turn into mission partners where they might already have a segment of your audience captured in some way, right? And so you can build strategic partnerships with them as well. Okay. Let's talk about from a back-end system perspective. Okay, so I have a calendar. I have, let me delete this. I have a landing page. I have automated workflows. So essentially what's happening is when someone gets access to one of my resources from my landing page, they automatically get added to an automated workflow where I am consistently sending them those follow-up emails. And what am I saying in my emails? Telling them my stories of meeting people where they're at and how to overcome the problem that they're wanting to overcome. Okay, and I'm offering that free coaching call, right? So as soon as I get access to that resource, I'm offering that free coaching call, right? On that free coaching call, I'm showing up for them in the best way that I can and making that offer if it's a good fit and they want to jump in with 2 feet. So I have my, my coaching sales page. Those are the main components that you want to have a system built out, because the beautiful thing about this is I have a lot of automated mission partners where leads are automatically coming in and they're automatically receiving the resource, because when they come in, that workflow fires and delivers the resource the moment they sign up for it. And so I don't even know what's going on. Like, I could be sleeping during this. And then they automatically receive that invitation to book a free coaching call. And again, I don't know anything about that until I open up my phone and go to my calendar and I just see who am I meeting with that day. And there's a form attached to it that asks them a few questions so I know who that person is and how I can best serve them. So all of that is pretty much automated. Your calendar, you guys know with, there's a lot of different applications out there. So you don't have to manually, send people appointment reminders and all of that. That's really important for getting a good show up rate. And then your coaching sales page, typically I just have that because that's helpful when people ask for like some type of literature of like, hey, I know we talked about on the call, but like I want to see what you're talking about. And then I put my testimonials on there. So what I want to show you is an all-in-one platform that I've used for the last 5-6 years. Even my previous business, before I switched into coaching, I've been using this platform the whole time. But everything is housed in one platform and everything speaks to each other, which is really helpful. Source of the resources, the ability for clients to pay is part of the equation. I just bought Tony Robbins is fabulous. Can you explain more about mission partners? Yes, if we have time, we'll come back to mission partners. We can touch on that more for sure. Oh yeah, I have an amazing assessment that, yes, I want to get back to, oh man, we have a lot. Okay, You know what? You know what we're gonna do? Um, there's a mission partner. I have a course workbook that's basically like 25 pages that walks through everything that I just shared, but like way more in depth, way more in detail. I'm just gonna give that to you guys for free, and it has a mission partner assessment. Someone says sounds like we're primed for business bonus hour. We have come on, boundaries, Kyle. You know, man. There's a mission partner assessment there, and it's going to ask you several questions, which helps you identify like who potential partners are, and then it helps you like walk through how you can reach out and how to develop your value proposition. It's going to be a little bit different for each of you, but yeah. So I'm gonna offer that for free, and yeah, I think okay. Let me go through the system real quick, and then I think I have. It's not an irresistible offer because all of you will be able to resist it, but I think a really good offer for you guys to hopefully take the next step. So, all right. It might be helpful if I just show you my entire backend system for this workshop, like how I'm doing this workshop right now. So all of you guys know that you signed up. Why is my keyboard not working? Oh no, my keyboard is totally not working at the moment. All right. Well, here's what we're going to do instead. I'm going to have to just click around with the stuff that I already have pulled up. So this is called Go High Level. A lot of people white label this and resell it. It's honestly a very, very powerful system. Some people build their entire business on just reselling this because it's very powerful. So basically what you want to have is a visual representation of the funnel that we just built out so that you know where each person is in their journey, because everybody's somewhere in the journey, right? In their customer journey. And so you need to know where people are so that you can meet them where they're at, right? And so these are people who have opted in through Facebook. These are people who have received one of my lead magnets, say like a workshop from me, or a PDF or a video training, things like that. These people who have booked a call with me. These are people who I've booked a call with, and they're kind of like my hot lead column. These are the people that I'm manually following up with right now to close for my next few cohorts. And then this is people who are currently in a cohort, and these are people who are in my mastermind. Okay, so what I do is automatically, when they get access to a lead magnet, they slide over automatically over there. When they book a call, they automatically move over to the booked call stage. After the call, I will manually decide, is this person a good fit? And if they are, I will move them over to the manual nurture where I follow up with that person based on the call that we had. When they become a cohort member, they move over to this column. When they join the mastermind, they move over to this one here. Now, how does all of that happen? So I have different funnels built out. And part of my offer is I offer to have this all set up for you, where let's say, so you guys are familiar with this one because of the one you signed up for. Sweet, I don't even need my keyboard. I can just go directly from here. Okay, so you guys, this landing page is built out through Go High Level, right? And it's just like, basically this would just be input into your CRM, and you would replace this video, you replace the time and date, that kind of thing. And you guys know that because you signed up through there, and then take you to the thank you page, right? Where it told you to add it to your calendar, and you could invite a friend and things like that. Now, when you did that, you automatically got added to the lead magnet stage of my pipeline, okay? Also, when you did that, it fired off a couple automations. So number one, when you submitted that form, we added a tag. So now I know, forever when you're in my CRM that you got access to the coach workshop. That way I know not to offer you the coach workshop. I don't know. It's helpful to know like who's got access to what. So when you're sending out customized emails, you can target a segment of your audience. This is the automation that automatically adds into lead magnet stage. I just showed you. I'm removing you from some workflows. All right, and then you get access to the confirmation email, right, which you guys received. So this was all automated. Okay, then it sent this SMS message to you to remind you. Okay, then 7 days before the event, we sent you another reminder email. Then 2 days before the event, we sent you a reminder email and SMS text. Then 1 hour before, we sent the last reminder. And now you're going to be added into my free call email nurture, which is basically my long-term email. I'll show you. It's my long-term email nurture that will just continue to provide value into your inbox. Of course, you can unsubscribe at any time. But these emails, I built out months and months ago, and I just kind of keep adding to them. Oh, sorry, that's the text nurture. Let me go to we call it email nurture. So you can see 60 people are waiting at this step. And one day they're going to receive this email. Okay. And then another day they're going to receive this email when money isn't satisfying your soul. And so here you can see I'm just following my framework here, telling my story and then making an offer for a free coaching call at the end. Right. So there you can see kind of where I'm just leading people from next step to the next step. All right. Bunch of chat messages. So let me see what we got here. All right. It's awesome. Thank you so much. Love it. Is it plugged in? Tell me what you mean by is it plugged in? Works of the enemy. Not sure what that means. Brother, I love your heart. Such a great encouragement today. Thanks, Kyle. I've been using Vendasta. What tech do you use for automation? Yep. So I use Go High Level. Do you have an affiliate link for Go High Level, brother, so we can help you out and check it out? I do have an affiliate link. I think my other offer is a lot better, so I don't even have it on hand. But basically, if you're a client of mine, I will set all this up for you and build out your lead magnet. Like you will create your lead magnet, say it's like a free PDF, and I will put the automations in place so that it automatically delivers to your audience. Your calendar set up, your landing page is set up, all of that, and that is. Like if you went straight to Go High Level, the cheapest price point is $97 a month, and that's what I charge. It's $97 a month, and that includes a setup, no extra fees there. Oh, there is some. So like there's like a fraction of a penny that you have to pay per text and per email, but it's unlimited emails, unlimited text. And by fraction, I mean it's like 0.000 and then something. That goes directly to Go High Level. Works the email, the keyboard. Yes, maybe so, maybe so. Okay, so let me make my offer, and then if you have any questions, just drop them in, and I'm just going to continue to provide as much value as I can. So any questions, drop them in the chat. So here's what I'm thinking. So you guys know as coaches, the greatest level of redemption comes from the actual live support and accountability. And so that is my preferred offer to make. Is a 12-week program. Some of you on this call have been through it, and it is just step-by-step handhold support to walk you through knowing what your mission is, your mission roadmap, your marketing message, your valuable resource, building out your lead magnets, building out your CRM, like all of those things, finding your mission partners. It's everything that we talked about in theory just applies to your situation. And I just meet you where you're at each week over Zoom for 1 hour. You also have access to me. You also have homework throughout the week and access to me throughout the week to get feedback on your homework throughout the week. So you have to wait for the next call if you have a quick question or a problem, or you want me to look at something, or hey, look at what I'm building. totally cool. I show up for you in that way. That is $1,800. I do have a payment plan of $600 a month for 3 months. The next cohort that I'm launching is July 9th. My wife texted me trying to tell me how my keyboard is working. I tried, babe. I tried flipping the switch on and off and it didn't work. So that's my preferred offer because I think most people need the coaching, as you guys as coaches probably know. However, I do have what I call Launchpad, which is all of my course videos and a monthly mastermind call that is I'm doing something I haven't done before because I just told you I was going to give you the workbook. So I have a 3-day free trial, and in that free trial, you can get a free coaching call with me. You get access to the 25-page course workbook. That is the entire workbook. Like, that is everything that my paid clients get. When you're paying me $1,800, that's the workbook. You get the first 4 course videos, which is basically the first 4 weeks of the coaching program, because you have a training video each week in that coaching program, and then we have the live session each week. So the training video tells you what to do and gives you the homework, and then the live session is applying it to your situation in your business. A monthly mastermind call, access to our paid private community. There's nobody in this community that's not actively investing in their business. So you are finding people who are aligned and actively investing. Most of them are Christian coaches. A few of them are different industries. I like the diversity. There's a lot of value. All that innovation is applying industry standards to an industry that hasn't met that standard yet. And so if you bring other insight from other people into new industries, it is explosive. So that's why I really like the mastermind. That's why I like the paid private community. And then you also get access to the CRM setup. So the CRM setup is first of all, it's an additional $9,700 a month. But I really don't like giving that access to that to people who haven't been through the program, because the program prepares you for all the things that I need to build out your CRM. It will save both of us so much heartache and headache if you go through the program and apply the things that I'm teaching you, because then it becomes plug and play into the CRM. And we just create the automated system that reflects the inward work that we've already done, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. So I'm going to drop the link in the chat, but this is really kind of, this is the first time I'm making this full offer here. So you get access to free coach, and this is just for getting access to the free trial. There's a 3-day free trial, and the reason it's 3 days is not because you can go through the full 4 videos and like do the whole thing, and like it's just that you can see that this is valuable and hopefully digest some of that information, and then each week it unlocks the next training video. Let me get the link for that. I think it's this one. I think I have it memorized by heart. Let's see. I better not question it. There you go. Grab that link. But let me know if you have any questions while I'm grabbing this. So on that free coaching call, we can talk about literally anything that we either touched on or didn't touch on, as long as it relates to loving people through business. I'm happy to talk about it and apply it to your situation. So, and when you do get access to that free trial, just shoot me an email, shoot me a message. It's hosted through Mighty Networks. Obviously, I don't own Mighty Networks. It's a third-party platform, but it's nice because it's off of Facebook, so there's no ads there. There's no distractions. You can shoot me. Someone says, how many people are in your mastermind group? So the mastermind is only for people who have graduated from the coaching cohorts. And so I have 10 people actively in that. Let's see, what am I missing? But you do get access to one of the mastermind calls. We meet every week. The Launchpad, when you're part of the Launchpad, which is the link I just dropped in there, you get access to meet the other mastermind members who have been through the cohort or are actively in a cohort once a month. And the focus of that call is really for collaboration, networking. It's for doing mission, building mission partners in real time with other people who have the same heart to serve people like you do. Any other questions? Man, I can't believe I'm on time right now. This is incredible. It makes me think that I like totally missed something. Yeah, any other questions? I think I covered what I wanted to. If you want to take me up on the coaching cohort, that starts July 9th. I'll share my screen real quick. The next one is July 9th. I'll put this landing page in there as well in case you want to check this out. This video, a lot of testimonial videos are like collages in here, just kind of like back to back to back. If you want to go through some of those or like see, this is all the things that we kind of talked about. Obviously, we didn't get to everything. But yeah, I'll put the link to this landing page. If you want to join that, I would say book a discovery call with me first, just to make sure that we're a good fit. I'm sure that we will be, but I just like to meet people before that. And you probably want to, you might have a few questions as well. Let me go back to Zoom. Elise says, if you're on the fence about joining a cohort, do it. Best money I ever spent on this. Oh, thanks, Elise. I love working with Elise. Brooke says, echoing this. You guys are awesome. I absolutely love what I get to do. And I love working with you guys. Thank you very much. Great webinar. Good to be bringing Christian entrepreneurs to work together. We should talk. Absolutely, Eddington. Hey, it's great to meet you too. Eddington and I were in a breakout room by ourselves. So I got to get to know Eddington a little bit. Yeah, what my promise to you is, I know that there's a lot of marketing gurus out there who will promise you, 10K, 90 days and different things like that. I'm a big advocate for only focusing on things that we can fully control and surrendering the rest and allowing God to be the provider. And so I know that there are specific things that we can't control, meaning our own beliefs and our own actions. And so I'm in Launchpad and to get into the cohort. Thanks, Joni. Oh, and quick note for Joni and the people who join the Launchpad is, if you decide, because I would be in agreement with you that the coaching is, I don't want to overemphasize that. If you are committed to showing up and applying this stuff on your own, like you're a DIY person, like you can do the course thing, but you guys know the course statistics, right? Most people get access to the course and then they just don't do anything with it. So I just want to be totally transparent there. But if you do that and you get halfway through, you're like, actually, I need help, we can apply every penny that you spent on Launchpad towards a cohort. So basically, at a certain point, the cohort becomes free if you stay on in the Launchpad long enough. So another good reason to hop into the free trial and at least see what's there. Someone asked a question and I got sidetracked. If I understood, there are potentially 10 partnerships possible. Oh, there's way more than 10 partnerships, but I don't know if you're going to build a strategic partnership with every person in the mastermind. It's not really about, it's not like I'm guaranteeing partnerships in any way. It's more like helping you find the people who would be a good fit for you and developing strategies around that. And I can't really sell partnerships per se. But yeah, I mean, you'll meet 10 other Christian entrepreneurs who may or may not be a good fit and may or may not be willing to partner with you. Cool. Man, I felt like I got sidetracked. I was talking about something. Any other questions? Let me recover. Bye for now. Bye, Eddington. Cool. This was great. Thank you so much. I'll review the information, get back to you. I'm also interested in the mission partner information. God bless your heart. Thanks, Lori. I appreciate that. Yes, the mission partner information. So that is inside Launchpad. So you get access to my full course workbook just in the free trial of Launchpad. So if you sign up through that link, you also get to introduce yourself to everybody else who's a paid student of mine, which is cool. And so I just encourage you to make a post and introduce yourself and go through those first couple course videos, get access to that course workbook. Kyle asked, can I have the honor of praying us out, brother? I would love that. I would love that, Kyle. Yeah, go ahead and come on and pray us out, man.
All right. Well, first of all, God, thank you so much for our brother here. He's got such a wonderful heart for you and just a heart to help other people. That is such a wonderful gift to have. And we're so thankful to have this time together. But Lord, I ask that you be with every one of my brothers and sisters on this call right now. This is a special family that we have, that we are bonded and united in you because of your gift for us and your sacrifice for us. Just be with each of them, help them to reach the lost, help them to reach people that need help. as they step out on their coaching journeys. Be with each of us and help us to always keep you front and center in everything that we do every day. And just thank you so much for this time together and for each of them. Lord, we love you. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day. Honestly, a privilege. Reach out to me if you have any questions or any concerns or any follow-up feedback. I would absolutely love that. Love you guys. Thanks for being here. This is such a good time. So I will be following up with you, making that offer, and I just want you to know whether you ever pay me a dime or not, I'm cheering for you. We're on the same team. We're on the same side. And so just genuinely thankful for you guys. Keep doing the work.
That's a good question. I actually don't remember how in the heck I fell into a relationship with Jeremy. I think it was a godsend, though.
Before Purpose Beyond Profit, I was just throwing spaghetti at the wall business-wise to see what would stick.
He validated where I was, encouraged me where I was, but assured me that he could help me move forward.
So Purpose Beyond Profit gave me a lot more clarity in where I was already going. So I was going in the right direction, but slower. It changed everything. So then there was an acceleration.
I'd say that this is definitely a God-ordained business.
Jeremy has this gift of seeing where you are in your business and using the knowledge and the gifts and experience and even his frameworks to find where you are and help you to get to where you want to be.
PBP gives us the structure for our business in a way that is not just business, but it's focused on our purpose. What is our God-given purpose?
The Holy Spirit just used each and every one of us as his body to present one holistic message.
The word that came to mind was the community. I think I needed that more than I realized I needed it.
So much is gained by being a part of this community.
An incredible amount of belonging, an openness of God's love, and watching the relationships grow and being included. And so that tells me that this is an amazing program and that this is where I need to be.
I think it's a good fit for anybody who has some drive and interest in doing something and having a roadmap.
I would say, what's your objective? What do you want to do? Do you want to glorify God with your business? Are you looking for a structured way to really implement that? There's a lot of businesses out there. There's a lot of business plan. There's very few that is focused on how do you look at it through God's perspective.
Everyone who partners with Jeremy is going to be blessed and is going to experience the Holy Spirit and what God has for that person.
It's linking arms with people. It's not just a place to be served. It truly is a walk and a journey with other Christ-minded, like-minded business people.
The question was, are you guys family? But immediately my answer was yes, we are family. We're a family of businesses.